usually who usually
It's
does the
usually
intro?
Jake, but we're back. We didn't really go anywhere. We're about a mile down the street.
Yeah.
A lot of things have happened in the last. I don't think we shot anything in like a year. I think our last thing we posted was probably April, or something like that.
Yeah, we'll have to go back and look, but I think some of the last stuff that you posted to YouTube was
old content.
CES stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think anything before CES would have been like December of last year.
Yeah. So everything that you'd seen was either from really early this year or late last year. Should probably say, if you don't know who we are.
Oh yeah, I'm John Schneider.
I'm Eric Faldy. I got a haircut like February. This is a really long overdue video.
Yeah.
I've been planning to do this for, the date on this for our podcast notes was August 3rd. And I think we've been talking about this since June when we started moving.
Yeah, so Eric got a haircut. I got braces. So if I sounded a little lispy, that's what's going on with that.
No glasses either.
Yeah, no glasses, yeah.
No contacts either.
Yeah, I got laser shot in my eyes, so that was great. But yeah, so I guess first things first, we're in a new building now. We currently share a building with 3D Fuel, filament manufacturer, and C2 Renew. Everyone's kind of still in the process of getting settled in, but we moved the offices over probably mid-June of this year, 2018. And then 3D Fuel moved over their production equipment for manufacturing filament, probably mid-July. They've been up and running and producing stuff since the end of July. And then C2 Renew, they've had their offices in here since probably June. I think, in June is when they had their office stuff
just
moved
starting
over.
to get all the machinery in this last week or so.
Yeah, so it's starting to fill the building out quite a bit. We're in a 15,000 square foot space now. Fargo 3D printing is now a lot more retail friendly than it used to be. In the past, our shop was kind of attached to the north end of a little strip mall. It's kind of we're still in an industrial area, but we've got much better visibility now. The office is, you can actually walk in and buy filament, and it's going to be less confusing of a process.
Hopefully.
Yeah,
It's getting better every day.
Yeah, so part of the reason that it's taken so long for us to do a podcast is we've gone through some changes kind of as a company, and just kind of what our focus ends up being. So I guess some of the first things, Jake Clark has actually moved down to the Minneapolis area with his fiance. She got a job down there, and so it made sense for Jake to follow suit. So he's still involved in Fargo 3D printing, just not as much on the normal day-to-day.
Yeah.
That's why he's not in this podcast, for example, because he's currently working away down in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
It's a little difficult for him to.
Not going to say exactly what he's doing, but there's 3D printing involved, so I mean it's carried over. So.
Yep. And then Sarah Loosbrock, she's also no longer with us. She got a job at another, what does she do now?
A marketing firm.
Yeah, marketing firm in town. And that was when Fargo 3D printing, we were trying to figure out what we wanted to do. We've always kind of done, kind of general 3D printing stuff. We started out selling 3D printers, then transitioned more to parts, and then transitioned more to the 3D printer repair. But just as stuff progressed, we were trying to figure out the best thing to focus on. As part of that, we actually spun off the repair part of the business. So there's a former employee of ours who now owns and runs that, called Fargo 3D Printer Repair. So it's a little confusing on the name, but they're actually in our old location, and they're taking a much more laser focus on doing 3D printer repair. So individuals, businesses, schools, OEMs that may need a North American facility for doing their repair work. That's what they're doing. And then Fargo 3D printing, we still do the spare parts and custom 3D printing. And we've just started to get back into selling 3D printers. Mm-hmm. We've never quit selling MakerBot 3D printers, but we hadn't made much of an effort because it's a tough thing to do. The margins aren't great on the MakerBots, and it's a lot more competitive, and it's a higher dollar amount. But what we've done recently is we brought on an inexpensive 3D printer line, the
Creality Ender 3.
Correct. And we are looking at bringing on other Creality 3D printers because we want to be working more in the local 3D printing market, not so much working with larger institutions and school districts.
We'll do that too.
Yeah,
but we're looking more for the one-off. Maybe they just want one printer.
Yeah,
hobbyist.
Someone that wants to get into 3D printing, or maybe a parent that wants to get a 3D printer kit for their kid to start putting together. And then since we're more retail friendly, selling filament on the spot, I mean, when we have 3D Fuel located in the same building as us, that makes it really easy for, for sourcing filament. And I mean, you can't really get it much fresher than that as far as filament goes.
Right off the shelf, right off the line.
So, I mean, really, those are kind of the big, that's most of the things. That's a lot of the housekeeping.
I guess in the future we're going to be adding the Ender 3. Is it the Ender 3 Plus or the Pro?
The Ender 3 Pro.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're actually going to stop carrying the Ender 3 and we're going to carry the Ender 3 Pro. There's a couple reasons for that. The Ender 3 Pro is a little bit more expensive, but it has a more robust aluminum extrusion system. I think the Y-axis, it's more rigid. It's going to have a better built frame. It has a more reliable power supply. And they changed the extruder to what they're calling is a Mark 10 extruder, and I think it will. I forget what it is, but it's supposed to be a better performing, less oozing, less issues with, or fewer issues with retraction.
Yeah.
So we'll be selling that both as a kit and as an assembled version, and we actually have the Fargo 3D printer repair guys handle the assembly of that. That way they get it all dialed in, everything's assembled well. They get all the calibration done, so you're able to come in, pick up a printer, and take home something that without really any modification at that point should kick out really nice prints. I mean, we've been really surprised with the quality of the Ender 3 prints.
It's not perfect, but for a $250 printer, it's I'm pretty happy with it. If you've ever seen like an Annette A8, it's pretty much on par with that. I wouldn't say it's like Prusa level, but it's competitive, I'd say.
Right.
Yeah.
We've also taken a little bit of a different tack with the custom 3D printing because, well, 3D Hubs is what we had been using for processing a lot of the inquiries on our website. People would upload their 3D files. 3D Hubs had a really nice on-site widget, so it would automatically quote it out, create an order, and unfortunately, 3D Hubs has decided to only work with a select few hubs in the United States that are of a certain size, and then they've kicked everyone else off of their platform.
And I think you had to have like I forget what the ratings are out of. I guess it was a 4.99 or
4.95.
4.95. Getting the numbers wrong in my head.
And we had a lower rating than that, lower quality rating, because about a year and a half ago, 3D Hubs ran an experiment where we were inundated with orders, and so we had a lot of late orders get shipped out.
Yeah.
I mean, it was an interesting problem to have.
We tried to keep up with it. We probably could have, handled it differently, but we're like, hey, we're going to try to match it, and it didn't work out too well. So
yeah,
you learn, I guess.
Yeah. So what we're going to do now is focus more on local area custom 3D printing. So people can bring in a flash drive with the files that they want to get printed off. We can quote it right on site. We're also going to work with a different website widget for doing automatic quoting. So if you're not in the area, you can still upload your files, get an automatic price quote, and it should be a lot easier for us from the job management side of things. That was always one thing where 3D Hubs kind of lacked, as far as the project management side, and then there really wasn't much for a CRM built into it. So for customer management, the new tool that we're working with, it looks like it's going to work quite a bit better. Still working on getting that all configured because all of our pricing we had set up in 3D Hubs, now I've got to replicate all those pricing models in this new tool. But
we don't have any other option other than doing it by hand, which I don't want to do.
No, I mean, it's tedious, and it's not a good experience for the customer. It's not a good experience for us. It is nice if the customer wants to come in and they have questions about how something's going to be printed, or they want to specify the orientation of a part. That's something that's nice about coming in and doing that. But
sometimes those chats end up being a little lengthy, so
yeah, I mean,
if you just do it online, it's usually a little more efficient.
Takes up a lot of time.
I think we kind of covered everything. There's probably a bunch of other stuff we could talk about. There's like some industry stuff that I wanted to talk about, but we can maybe cover those in the future.
Yeah.
Or someone else probably talked about it already. We're gonna we'll try to do some more podcasts. We'll just have to see. Like, we are pretty stretched. You more so.
Yeah.
I'm just working for one company, and you're running, two of them.
Yeah. So I mean, it's something that we're going to try and do more of now that we're getting a little more settled into the building. I mean, really, the entire summer was taken up from moving in one aspect or another.
Yeah, I mean, at one point I was trying to leave as well. Like, it was like, I knew that Sarah was leaving, and then I got wind that Jake was leaving, and I was like, okay, that's my answer. Yeah. And then I came back under some different terms, and I'm happy, and I want to see this business do well. So yeah, I wouldn't be here if I didn't like it. So
yeah, no, we've got some interesting things coming up in this next year, and sorry it took so long to have an update, but that's just the way that things ended up going. But we're looking forward to
trying to
hopefully
get
serving you in the
back, try to
future,
get back in the community, at least like the YouTube and whatnot. We've never really jumped off of Instagram. It was definitely quiet for a while, but we did. I think it's in my pocket. I made a chip clip. If you guys know Mr. Alligator, it's like the Mr. Shark that was on all the MakerBots for a long time. I made a pumpkin because we have a limited edition filament. So go check that out on Thingiverse, Mr. Pumpkin. I think that's all I have.
Okay. All right. Well, on behalf of myself, John Schneider, and
Eric Faldy.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to talking to you again in the future.
That was all right.
Short.
About as yeah. I mean, I was like, I feel like we have more to talk about. It's like we can drag this out a couple more minutes. Oh, that was 10 minutes.